Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? And we're live once again, MyTrade PH. If you happen to just see us in the newsfeed, stop. Muna kayo umalis because you will know more about what's happening in the. It's a pit stop. It's this is a show regarding the, di ba, pag halimbawa, long road back and you are in a long drive and you have to stop first. So you would know if ikaw ay isang investor and you just happen to see this in the newsfeed, in your newsfeed, stop first. Baka mamaya is makatulong kami doon sa mga tanong mo sa market na you haven't asked anyone or wala kang matanungan na may matinong sagot. Um, Thank you so much for tuning in. I see a lot of people tuning in today from Doha, Qatar. Hi, Lee Magallon, watching from United Arab Emirates. Good afternoon, Sir Zaldi. Yan, kanina kakagaling lang yan sa show, sa presentation ng Create. Hi, Joshua De Leon, watching from Denmark. Wow. Hi, Sly. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good afternoon. If you have friends that you would want to share this with and baka meron silang tanong, regardless if you are a member or a subscriber of MyTrade or not, we will share with you our thoughts with the experts and the subject matter experts of Abaco Securities later on. So, what do you know about PitStop? Guys, if you want us to trend, give us a like or a heart para makita ng magkaroon ng algorithm yung Facebook, and you will be suggested by probably with your friends and also those who are invested in the market para baka mamaya may tanong sila, they wanna find out anything about the market, they have a question, they're bothered, ano ba talaga ang mangyayari, and okay pa ba to stay invested. These are the things that we're gonna answer you today. Right now, okay, someone's watching from sa Europe naman. Hello, Facebook user. If this is your first time to watch, can you please grant us an access in StreamYard so we can shout out your name? Yes, I will be joined by our analyst a little later. Pero bago ang lahat, meron tayong papakita na sino dito ang familiar sa. Okay, so we have a makulit na question this afternoon. I don't know if you know about this. Sinong may alam ng story na to? For those who know, mga millennials to, I think. Someone watching from Davao? Pa-shout out. Ayan, hindi kita masya-shout out kasi wala kang pangalan. Grant access to StreamYard so I can shout out your name. Makita namin ang iyong profile picture so your friends can see that you're on screen. Sino ang isasama mo mag-change oil? Dahil dyan, tatanungin ko yung mga kasama ko ngayon. Let me introduce them one by one. First is, she is the only rose among the thorns in the research team. She joined Abaco Securities in 2007 and covers research on banks and economy. She earned a degree in business economics from University of the Philippines, Diliman, and graduated cum laude in 2014. She finished a master's degree in applied economics at De La Salle University. Let me call on stage talaga. Miss ko na yung Hi, Bess!
Ayan, hi,
Bess,
good afternoon, everybody. And good afternoon, Sheena.
Yeah. So next is, pag-isipan mo, Bess, sino yung sasama mo mag-change oil. The next is, okay, he is the one of the junior research analysts. He is with Abaco Securities back in 2015. He covers energy, property, so i-take note nyo na yung mga questions nyo kung anong stock yung telco, and construction industries. He graduated cum laude with a master's degree in industrial economics from University of Asia and the Pacific in 2015. Let me welcome on screen. Hi, Herman.
Hi Gina. Hi Bess. Hi everyone. Good afternoon.
Yan. Galing naman ni Ma'am Bes. Galing nila, kaya hindi basta-basta tong mga guests natin today. Okay, next is, ang pinakabata sa grupo nila. He joined Abaco Securities in 2021 as an investment analyst. He covers consumer. Nawala ako. Anyway. Oh, Herman, may sagot na sa'yo. Okay, if you wanna join at gusto nyo makita yung sagot sa screen, bago ka i-continue yung papakilala ko mamaya, go to menti.com and use the code 5233073 and answer the question, sino ang isasama mo mag-change oil? Okay, so I'll continue. He earned an AB Management Economics minor in finance from the Ateneo University in 2017. Ang bunso nila, Rainier, welcome to the show. This is his second time live on MyTrade. Hi,
Hi,
Rainier.
good afternoon. Thank you, Gina.
Hello!
Hi, everyone.
Naiba yung background. Anyway, last but not the least, he's the technical strategies of MyTrade MyTrade PH, and he's a licensed stockbroker since 2009 and completed Philippine Stock Exchange certified securities specialist in 2011. He is also one of the few chartered market technicians in the country. He provides the technical analysis of the smaller market capitalization for MyTrade clients. Let's welcome yung propeta namin si Isaiah.
Hi everyone. Hi Gina. Hi guys.
Yan. So habang nakikita natin yung sagot ng mga kasama natin na nanonood ngayon. Okay. Oy, thank you. May magsasama sa akin mag-change oil. Sino yung isasama yung mag-change oil? Ako actually, nalaman ko lang yung story ng change oil kagabi. Kasi kailangan ko siyang i-opening spiel. Hindi ko siya talaga alam. Pero yan, later, makikita natin. Meron talaga kami. Sige, keep on answering. Actually, I think ang mga to ay excited na rin for, for what's happening in the market. I think may mga few things sila na napapansin sa mga investors since we're answering questions from time to time sa aming mga exclusive Facebook group, which are the MyTrade community. Hi, MyTrade community. This is the newest Facebook community of MyTrade. This involves a sharing of insights ng ating ng investors, regardless of their account size. We also have our MyTrade map, wherein this is the channel of the experts, of the subject matter experts. Dito tinatanong ang mga analysts namin with regards to the concerns that they have in the market, and they'll be answered straight directly by the analysts that they want to tag. And last but not the least, we have an e-hub wherein people are waiting for the free webinars from time to time. This is applicable for non-clients and also clients of MyTrade. Okay, so to open this discussion, guys, ano yung kita nyo that in the current situation, yung question na you're most interested na nakita niyo from the past few days, since with regards to the market or what's happening in the market, ano yung mga questions that you found interesting perhaps? Pwedeng directly question sa inyo, pwedeng nakita nyo lang na share ng mga tao, or sa inyo mismo tinanong. Interesting. So it can be something unique or something a bit funny. Yan, makikita niyo iba-iba yung background namin. So some of us are working from home, and may pa-spotlight si Rainier sa likod. Meron tayong courtside reporter si Germa. Sige, sino yung may answer doon sa yung nag-observe ng mga, parang si Rainier. Ano na ba?
Sige, ako na muna.
Okay, sige, wala pa.
Ay, rinig mo ako, China.
Yes.
Okay, sige, siguro sa akin yung naalala ko now is yung may nagtanong about isang valuation method namin, yung sa standard deviation. Kasi very unusual na may nagtatanong nung how we do our valuations eh. Kasi very detailed and medyo siguro boring siya kung pag-uusapan. Pero nagulat ako na merong nag-take interest about that. Tapos siguro natawa lang na interesting lang siya for me kasi when I was explaining yung method, parang bumalik ako sa college days ko kasi kailangan ng statistics doon. So yun, medyo naging reminiscent lang sa akin yung college days na nag-aaral ng statistics when I explained yung answer to that question. So nakakatuwa na merong interested sa mga ganong bagay on how we do things. Hindi lang sila tanggap ng info, they also want to know how we do it. Siguro that's one na yun.
Okay. Sorry, may delay. So, speaking of tanggap ng info, and sometimes iba nakakalito rin naman talaga yung sometimes kapag may mga nababasa tayo and it's our first time to have this kind of investment. Sometimes it confuses us. So mamaya they will take time to give and explain to you yung ating fundamental analysis with a few terms that we use in short takes. Yeah. So sino yung may sagot na?
Ako na lang.
Actually,
Sorry.
ay, sige, go.
Sige. Actually, naalala ko yung question na to. I think I wasn't with Abacus yet. So I think this was around yung mga peak nung January yata na may nagtanong sa one of the groups na how can we short the index as in the PSEI? Parang ako, oh wow. Pero gusto mag-short ng index at this time na parang, ang taas na lahat. So, well, it's quite interesting kasi I think people are starting to recognize the trends therein, especially what's going on. And it's nice to know that people are taking interest about what they see. Now they want to take advantage or at the same time make an educated investment decision.
All right. Thank you, Rainier. Si Bess. How about you, Bess?
Yan. Actually, hindi siya like specific question from our clients. Medyo na-observe ko lang na yung range ng questions coming from our clients sobrang lawak. Like, it comes from super beginner questions like anong difference ng preferred and common, or some questions about kailan matatanggap yung dividends or kung eligible ka ba for dividends. And sometimes it goes very technical, like yung standard deviation na na-mention kanina na question. And parang medyo na-realize lang namin na gano'ng kalawak yung spectrum ng kind of information na kailangan nating i-communicate sa client. So, kaya rin siguro tayo nagkaroon ng ganitong live stream kasi nga di-discuss natin yung mga information na kailangan pang i-explain or bigyan ng clarifications to our clients. Parang medyo na-amaze ako na sobrang broad ng yung hatak natin ng mga different kinds of investors.
Yeah. So, si Rainier was observing na may gustong mag-short ng index while si Bess na-realize na because guys, pag talaga ganyan yung level ng IQ mo, hindi mo na alam kung anong basic. Kaya yung mga normal na tao katulad ko, yun yung nag-explain sa kanila, hindi po yan normal tao. So we will give you the confidence. Sabi nga nito ni Yads, let me share with you. Sabi niya, Hayes, nakakapanglakas loob po kayong lahat. Basahin mo nga to, nakakapanglakas loob po kayong lahat ito sa minsanang grabe. Ang lalim mo mag-Tagalog Live, Ma'am Chida, pinapakita niyo lang po na di niyo kami binabaliwala. Of course naman. Actually, even if people, tama yung sinabi ni Bess kanina, we realize, kidding aside, we really realize that people really need learning they need guidance. And sad to see, we see people, alam mo yung minsan, I think ang nakaka-frustrate sa amin. Ako, personally, it frustrates me when someone shares an idea and that will lead to confusion pa instead of, nami-mislead yung analysis ng isang tao. And then baka doon na nanggagaling yung mga sumangasanga na kung ano-anong analysis. So I think there is a real need for this, for clarification. We title this pit stop kasi sasagot si Isaiah. So, we title this pit stop because, di ba nga, back from the long road back on January, naging magandang theme to. It's because if you are on a road and you're driving, either you are on an F1 race where you need speed, or if you are in a long drive na kailangan mo masustain yung makina, kahit yung speed is of the essence, nabasa ko na one of the research said na mas bumibilis ang engine kapag nagkakaroon ng pit stop. And this pit stop is for you to check whether your tires are still good, if your driver is still awake, if you can still have that next leg ng road ahead. Ayan. So dahil dyan may segue na ako, your answer, Isaiah, what's your most interesting question that you saw? Ito maraming question to about kung ano-anong stuff.
Siguro nothing really about like the technicals or anything recently has come to mind, but more of questions for us as Filipinos, as employees of Abacus, if we will take the vaccine or not, and if we do, what kind of vaccine should we take? So that's really been the one that's been weighing on my mind more so than anything else. So ayun, that's really what that's not the question that that I've been thinking about the most. If they do take it, will I be that 5% that doesn't end up like in a good result? So ayun, that's yeah.
Nakikita niyo na yung paranoia ng mga overthinkers. Joke lang. Pero ang galing ng segue na yun. Baka siya na ang susunod na host dahil because of that question, we also would like to know, you guys, can I have your take on this? Would you prefer to be vaccinated or not? Please answer the question for the entire session. And we will check the result of this at the end of this session. Would you prefer to be vaccinated or not? Go to menti.com so we can present to them the total of this given survey. So menti.com, go to 6252-1644. Ayan. So nakikita na ba? I think nahaharangan yung code. Let me say that again. Ayan, so alisin muna natin. It's menti.com. Go to 6252-1644. Later on, we will share with you the total. So just to explain the choices. First is yes, as in yes, totally yes. They're not gonna think about it. It's a big yes. For second is hindi pa sila sure, but it's clinging on to maybe a yes. And the other one, si Mimiya, is maybe, pero baka hindi. Later, sasagot yung mga analysts, including myself, kung ano ba talaga yung take naman namin personally dito sa question na to. And the last but not the least is totally no, I don't want to take the vaccine at all. Ayan. So later on, we will show this from time to time for the entire show to be able for us to di ba, hindi, it's really curious. I mean, just even thinking and reading about each vaccines, ano na ba talaga yung pinaka-effective, di ba? And if yung sinabi niya sa'yo kanina, if it's a 97% effectivity, pwede ka kayang mabilang dun sa 3% na baka hindi mag-take effect. Yan, sana kung placebo lang, paano kung iba? So, sana naman hindi. Yan. So, yeah, people are sharing their thoughts. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And later on, during the entire show, we will show you the sentiments of people. Actually, this particular question will be posted on our social media. It's we're gonna have it. Sinabi nga nila during a pit stop. What happens is that the racers and the drivers are checking the tires, the engine, and the drivers are doing stretching. And before they leave, they're gonna gas up. So this is in preparation to the upcoming event. Ito na sasabihin ko na, the upcoming market update of our very own head of research, Sir Nicky Franco, on April 23. So this is like a preparation for that. That's why it's a pit stop. So ito muna, checking muna engine. We are the pit crew that we're gonna give you insights about the market. And so I will remove this. Thank you guys. And later on, we'll be sharing their thoughts on the Q&A, but we will have the first part of this particular event. Let me see you guys later. Remove natin muna sila. And okay, so just to make an introduction, for this particular talk, ito ba, ikaw ba ay someone na nagbabasa ng short text? We had shared we had a sharing of short text to the public last year during the height of the pandemic, because we know, even though if you're not a MyTrade client, we know that you need proper guidance in terms of knowing the proper information with regards to this particular crisis that we have, and if it's very well fitted to become an investor. And okay, so I'll and this famous quote could be well our theme for the coming months. We are not yet desired. We are not yet in our desired destination, and we are way too far from it. But as vaccines continue to be rolled out, economies will recover slowly. Sabi nga nila, kahit bumper to bumper, basta moving. That's what we will do. We will keep moving forward slowly but surely towards our goals. Kahit mabagal, ang importante, makakarating. With a continually increasing number of COVID-19 cases in the Philippines and delays in vaccinations, investors could consider taking a pit stop first. And so let's all welcome this first speaker to share with you ito yung mga, while the economy is not so we're not confident yet and it's not yet stable, we would want to know further and how to further understand and appreciate this daily report that we have given by our analyst in a day-to-day scenario. If you will see, this is a report wherein meron kaming particular focus of the day. We will show you the different parts of this particular short text. If you happen to like whatever it is that we're going to be discussing today, feel free to open an account with us so we can share with you, because this is exclusive to the MyTrade clients only. So without further ado, I'll give the screen to the speaker that will show you and how you will appreciate short text. Hi, Herman. So I'll give you the floor.
Hi, China. Rinig naman, China. Okay, so good afternoon, guys. Thank you for spending time with us. I hope you are all safe wherever you are, whether it's at home or in the office or kung nasan man. So I hope you all guys are safe. And so for the first half of our event for today, we'll be talking about reading research as a lifestyle. So I think every one of us needs to do research, no, in making our investment decisions. And I think this is especially true for the newbies who need extra guidance in starting their investment journey in the stock market. Because what happens when we don't do due diligence before making an investment decision? This is what happens. So back in 2019, if you all can remember, Jollibee bought Coffee Bean Tea Leaf, and then there was this guy who markets himself as a stock influencer. So nag-post siya sa Twitter niya, if we can take a minute to read. Ang sabi niya, Jollibee buys CBTL worldwide for 100 million USD. This is the catalyst at 266. This puts more value for Jollibee. Gosh, I love this game. Trading halt until 2:30 p.m. This will be JFC's biggest acquisition. So kung mabibilang yung exclamation point niya na sobrang dami, ibig sabihin sobrang excited niya talaga about dun sa disclosure ng Jollibee. And since stock influencer siya, I can assume na maraming nakakita ng post niya. And I think maraming napabili ng stock because of this post. Kasi tingnan mo naman, sobrang lakas niya namang hype, right? But little did they know that CBTL has been incurring losses for several years and that it's actually negative for Jollibee's earnings. And as a result, the stock price of Jollibee after the disclosure went down by 6% and then by another 18% in another few weeks. So this is one of the dangers siguro if we listen to hype posts and when we base our investment decisions on sa mga hype and mga rumors. So this is where the importance of fundamental analysis comes in. So how do we define fundamental analysis? So one definition I saw is that it is a method of measuring a security's value by examining related economic and financial factors. And then another definition is that it is the analysis of a business's financial statements, health, competitors, and markets. So if we'll look at these definitions, parang sobrang broad ng fundamental analysis, no? So let's make it simpler for today's talk. So for today's talk, we'll just focus on one thing, and that is profitability. So we'll define fundamental analysis as a study of profitability of companies. So when you say profitability, we're pertaining to how much the company is earning. So when you say profitability, we're actually gonna talk about three elements, or this is what I call the three E's. So the first E is earnings growth. Siyempre kaming mga analyst, we want to recommend to clients yung mga companies that have a strong earnings, because strong earnings equates to more value for the company, and this drives stock prices higher. However, this relationship between strong earnings and more value only happens most of the time and not always. And why is that? Because it is not enough na mag-base lang tayo sa earnings growth. We also need to look at the second E, which is earnings quality. And this is where we distinguish the difference between reported or headline net income versus core net income. So when we say core net income, ito yung kinikita ng company na nanggagaling dun sa main business niya or primary business. Whereas yung reported or headline net income, so ito yung nakikita natin na headline sa news, no? However, itong net income na to, itong reported net income, might include some earnings na hindi galing dun sa primary business ng company. So how do we make this clearer? Let's give you some examples. So for example, for banks like Metrobank, ang core business niya is to earn interest dun sa mga loans niya. I think this is all clear for all of us. And then for Jollibee, syempre, ang core business niya is to sell food, di ba? And then for property developers like MegaWorld, their main business or their core business is to rent out their malls or their office buildings or to sell condominium units. Now, let's say si Metrobank, na binenta niya yung headquarter office niya because maybe management wants to transfer to a cheaper building. Or let's say si Jollibee, when si Jollibee na kumita ng interest sa cash niya sa banks, so kapag kumita siya ng interest, this will be considered as earnings pero hindi siya dapat part ng core earnings kasi hindi naman talaga yun yung core business ni Jollibee. Ang core business niya is to sell food and not to earn interest. And at the same time, for Metrobank, let's say, nagbenta siya ng headquarter office because they want to transfer to a cheaper building. So kapag let's say kumita siya dun sa pagbebenta niya na yon, papasok siya sa reported net income pero hindi siya dapat part ng core income because hindi naman talaga part ng core business ng banks like Metrobank to sell buildings, right? So that's what we mean by core business. So why is it important to look at these things? Because a couple years back, si Mrs. G, si Metro Retail Stores Group, nagkaroon siya ng reported net income na ganito. It goes like this. Metro Retail posts 65% net profit growth in first quarter. So if you look at the growth, ang laki niyan, no? Kasi that's parang more than half yung nilaki nung net income. So if you just base your investment decision on the reported net income or the headline net income, mapapabili ka ng stock talaga. And then as it turns out, on that day, the stock went down by 10%. And why is that? Because core income was actually down by 86%. And it turns out, tumaas lang yung net income ni Mrs. G because nakatanggap siya ng insurance proceeds dahil ata doon sa building na nasunog niya. So nakatanggap siya ng insurance proceeds, that's why lumaki yung net income. However, hindi naman part ng core business ng Mrs. G yung pagtanggap ng insurance claims. Kaya yung core income niya bumagsak ng 86%. So that's why it's important to distinguish between reported net income and core net income. And I think one of the most important lessons that we should learn from this talk is that we should take everything with a grain of salt. So as my boss will put it, meron tayong dapat healthy dose of skepticism. So dapat meron tayong pagdududa palagi. Actually, helpful dito kung meron kang trust issues, no, sa stock market because logically, companies would want to report only the positives about their businesses. Kasi syempre, they want to retain investors or to attract more investors. And syempre, it's our job to really hukayin kung ano talaga yung katotohanan na nangyari dun sa business. It's our job to really find out what the true numbers are. And also, we can expect na they would report the positives only about their businesses because they don't want to disappoint their investors. And they always want to meet they always want to meet the expectations of their investors. And this takes me to my third E, which is expectation versus reality. So if you look at the picture, I think we have all fallen victims to this marketing technique, no, na sa menu, sobrang ganda ng food. And then pagdating sa'yo, what ganun, parang hindi siya ganun kaganda, no. So pag ganyan, 'di ba, nakaka-disappoint. And I think it also works with the stock market. So kapag sa stock market, when a company reports good earnings performance, pero let's say hindi niya na-meet yung expectations ng market. However good the performance is, babagsak yung stock kasi hindi niya na-meet yung expectation ng market and ng mga analysts. So let's give you some examples to drive home our point. So let's say let's compare pairs of companies for the coming slides. So let's say for this slide we're comparing Semirara and BPI. So for the reported income growth, Semirara reported an income decline of 26%, whereas for BPI 25% growth. Ang core income growth naman nila is same as reported income. So that means wala silang earnings na outside of their primary business. So pwedeng magkapareho talaga yung core and reported. So if at first glance, you'll say na mas maganda yung pinakita ni BPI kasi positive siya and si Semirara naman is negative. But if you compare those performances with their respective market expectations, you can see na si Semirara, the market was expecting a 35% decline. Pero ang actual number niya is just 26% decline. That means na umusan niya yung expectation ng market, no? And whereas si BPI naman, parang inline lang yung actual numbers niya dun sa market expectations. Now, because of this, because si Semirara, naungusan niya yung market expectations, siya dapat yung mas umakyat na stock. Whereas si BPI, siguro dapat mga sideways lang kasi walang surprise doon sa earnings performance niya kasi na-meet niya lang yung expectation ng market. So for our second example, we'll be featuring Ayala Land and Bloomberry Resorts Corporation. So ayan, so for the reported income growth, Ayala Land reported an income growth of 12%. So these numbers are just hypothetical, guys. And then Bloom reported an income growth of 11%. So same as our previous example, same lang yung core and reported income. However, so for Ayala Land, ang market expectation is a growth of 16%. Whereas ang actual number niya lang is just 12%. That means nag-underperform siya. So hindi niya na-meet yung expectation ng market. And because of this, the stock will have the tendency to adjust lower kahit positive yung income growth niya. Whereas si Bloom naman, the market was expecting hypothetically a decline of 20%, whereas the company reported an actual figure of 11%. And because of this, naungusan niya yung market expectation, kaya the stock will have the tendency to adjust higher. And as for our last example, so we have JGS and LTG. These are both conglomerates. So for the reported income growth, CJGS is reported a strong 77%, while si LTG naman parang flattish lang, 3%. And then for their core income growth, si JGS, ang core income niya is just 9%, whereas LTG is 27%. And for market expectations, so minsan this happens no, na walang consensus estimates for these companies. But if you just base it dun sa numbers nila, we can say na dapat si LTG yung mas may tendency na umakyat kasi mas mataas yung core income growth niya. And as we explained earlier, we should also look at the earnings quality, which is the core income growth, more than the reported income growth. So everything that we've talked about pertains to how we do fundamental analysis. And it's important for you guys to be familiar with fundamental analysis because this is the type of thinking or analysis that goes with writing our reports. One example of that is yung short takes, which is yung nabanggit ni China, no? So, what is short takes actually? So, for those reading our short takes religiously, you are very familiar with this report. But for those newbies and for those asking how to utilize this short takes, maybe this report can help you out. So, what is short takes? For me, it's a fundamental report that is published daily, which helps clients strategize for the day. So, when you say fundamental, as we said earlier, we're focusing on the profitability of companies. And then this is published on a daily basis. And this report is meant to help clients strategize for the day. And why is that? It's because it is in this report where we discuss the recent disclosures, news, and events, both domestic and international, and how these relate to the market. So minsan on a daily basis, may lumalabas na bagong disclosures or news, and then we sometimes wonder how this new development, how this new development will affect yung mga stocks na hawak natin. So doon namin sa short take siya dinidiscuss. And then finally, the short takes contains our analysis, recommendations, target prices for our covered stocks. So in a nutshell, how we discuss here yung mga recent events, how these relate to the stocks na covered namin, and then we also include here yung recommendation so that our clients will know how to take advantage of these new events. So, ano ba yung mga parts ng report natin? So we have 4 parts for short takes. First is focus of the day, significant digits, random thoughts, and our latest addition is the summary. So very briefly lang, no, we'll talk about each of these parts. So first is focus of the day. So this is where this is as the name suggests, no, it's the focus of the day. It's the most important part because this is where we discuss the most compelling or most concerning topic. So kapag nakakita kami, let's say, ng isang market moving na news, when you say market moving, isang news siya na very significant or might influence yung direction ng market, either pataas or pababa. Or let's say kapag meron kang nakikita na active na stocks, no? So this is where we feature those issues dito sa focus of the day. And because this is the most important part, logically, it is the longest and most detailed portion. So ito sa example natin, we featured the LTG. This is one of our top picks, one of our most successful top picks. So at this date, when we released this report, this is back in February, I think. Actually, the first time we recommended this is back in May, and at that time it was only trading at around 8 pesos. But ngayon, if you look at the stock, it's now trading at almost 14 pesos. So that's why we say it's one of the most successful top picks that we have. And then the second part of the short takes is the significant digits. So This usually contains yung mga economic data or figures that we think are important for the market. So, dyan mo makikita yung mga inflation, GDP, PMI, exports, imports, mga consensus estimates, and the like. So, dyan namin siya fini-feature. So, at the same time, minsan nag-feature din namin siya ng price range. At, for example, itong feature namin ngayon, ang nakalagay is yung price range ng FOO ni ASEN. So it's 6 pesos to 8.20, and then we discussed here kung anong implications nito dun sa computation ng target price namin for ASEN. And also minsan we also try to look out for stocks na may mataas na dividend yields. So minsan dito namin siya fini-feature, no, because those dividend yields for us are significant digits. So diyan nyo siya makikita, guys. And then random thoughts. These are just quick and short analysis on disclosures or news. So let's say kapag may nakita kami ng disclosure na related sa isang stock, and then hindi naman siya kailangan na i-explain ng mahaba, dyan namin siya ilalagay, guys. And then minsan nag-feature din namin kami dito ng earnings results, especially kapag earnings season. So, lalo ngayon kakatapos lang nung earnings season for the full year. So, kung mapapansin niyo yung random thoughts namin, ang laman niya is puro earnings results and how we think it would affect yung mga stocks na nag-report ng earnings na yan. So basically, random thoughts contain anything under the sun that may affect the market. So random talaga siya, guys. But rest assured na lahat ng mababasa niyo dito, guys, will help you to strategize for the day. And then lastly, so this our latest edition, yung summary. So this a new edition. Kasi may mga nakita kami na comments ng ibang clients namin na let's say siguro maraming jargon yung kasama sa report or kaya medyo mahaba siya. So eto, naglalagay na kami ng summary before the report starts. And then ito, siguro half a page lang to, very quick read lang. So it contains the recap of the report's content. So this is especially for traders and investors on the go. So by including this summary, we hope it would help our clients more in understanding kung ano yung content nung short takes namin. And then minsan may mga nagtatanong, no, bakit magkaiba yung, let's say, recommendation ng super timer and ng short takes. So super timer ay yung nire-release namin every Friday, written by our other CMT, si Lawrence Gonzaga. So it's about technical analysis, no, so more on chart. So minsan magkaiba kasi yung signals ng fundamental and technical. So maybe it's important to distinguish between the two. So for fundamental, mas mahaba yung investment time horizon. So maybe for our investments to bear fruit, it would take us around mga 6 to 12 months. So ito yung investment time horizon. Whereas kapag technical, very short lang siya talaga, no? Pwedeng minutes, pwedeng days, pwedeng weeks. So ayun yung isang major difference ng fundamental and technical. And then also for me, fundamental analysis answers the questions what and why. Let's say what stocks to buy and why we should buy those. Whereas the technical naman, it answers the question when. When should we buy the stock? So more on timing naman tong si technical, no? And then lastly, as we discussed kanina, si fundamental focuses on earnings and stories. Whereas si technical naman, it focuses on price action. So actually, if we'll think kung pag-iisipan talaga natin, hindi talaga dapat siya fundamental versus technical, no? Actually, we can use this in tandem talaga. So let's say when we choose stocks to buy or kapag naghahanap tayo ng reason for buying those stocks, we can look at fundamental. And kapag we want to know the timing, kung kailan tayo bibili, let's look at technical. So actually, it's very helpful if we have fundamental and technical analysis in our arsenal, no? Kasi lalo na kapag same yung call nila kapag parehong buy, no? So mas malakas yung conviction natin in buying a stock kapag nag-jive yung call between fundamental and technical. Now, in writing our fundamental reports like the short takes, you may come across some items na baka medyo hindi kayo familiar. So, we'll try to clarify some of those items here. So, first, when we say year on year, let's say si Petron grew by 10% in the fourth quarter year on year. That means we're comparing the fourth quarter 2020 with fourth quarter 2019. So 1 year apart yung comparison. That's what you mean by year on year. So that's 1 year apart. So when we say quarter on quarter naman, we're comparing two quarters na magkasunod. So let's say Petron grew by 10% in the fourth quarter, quarter on quarter. That means kino-compare natin fourth quarter with the third quarter. So that's what we mean by quarter on quarter. So, and then when you say year to date naman, let's say LTG went up, let's say lang by 50% year to date. So that means we're pertaining to yung start ng year, which is 2021, let's say January 2021, January 1, 2021, up to yung day to day, which is April 8. So that's what you mean by year to date. So start ng year hanggang present day. That's what you mean by year to date. And then quarter to date naman, sa start ng quarter hanggang present day. Let's say ngayon, ang quarter to date, when you say quarter to date, ang start ng quarter for the second quarter is April 1. So let's say a stock went up by 10% quarter to date in Q2. That means when umakyat yung stock by simula sa start ng Q2 hanggang present day. That's what you mean by quarter to date. So month to date, same concept lang, pero ito naman sa start ng month. So when you say month to date, for example, if you use that today, ang month to date natin magsa-start ng April 1 hanggang April 8, which is yung present day. So ito, overweight, ang dami nagtatanong nito about sa short takes namin. So when you say overweight, we're actually assuming na our clients allot a certain portion of their investments sa isang stock. Let's say, for example, for me personally, when I buy stocks, I normally allot 20% for each stock investment. So when we say overweight, we'll try to increase yung weight ng stock na yon. So let's say instead of 20%, gagawin kong 30%. So, overweight namin yung mga stocks na tingin namin mas maganda yung return potential, no, yung upside potential. So that's what we mean by overweight. So taasan mo yung allocation mo for that stock. That's what we mean by overweight. So ang opposite niya is underweight. So let's say kung ako nga normally 20% ako mag-allot. So when you say underweight, baka gawin ko mga 10% lang. So underweight namin yung mga stock na tingin namin hindi maganda yung return potential. That's why we recommend to clients na litan lang yung allocation for that stock. And then when we say neutral, we think na sideways lang yung price movement ng stock. So we don't really recommend any movement, any action towards this stock. So when you say sell on rally naman, this happens when we expect a stock to go up but for the wrong reasons. So when we expect a stock to go up and then we expect it to not be sustained. So in-expect namin na bumagsak din siya. That's when we recommend sell on rally. So we want our clients to take advantage of the temporary rise because we think babagsak din yung stock. So that's what we mean by sell on rally. And then yung kabaliktaran niya naman is buy on dips. So ang kabaliktaran niya is when we think a stock is expected to go down but for the wrong reasons. Or let's say bumagsak yung stock pero parang parang overreacting over yung pagbagsak niya. So nire-recommend namin to sa mga stocks na siguro pangit yung short term pero maganda yung long term. So that's why we tell our clients to buy on dips. So yan, if you have further questions na let's say mga terms na hindi pa rin malinaw, you can comment them down below and then maybe we can tackle those later sa Q&A. And then how to access the report. So there are 3 channels on how you can access the report. So first, we email them to our clients. So if hindi kayo nakakatanggap, siguro maybe you can inform help@mytrade.com.ph so that we can add your email accounts. And then also you can check our mobile app and then the trading hall. So dito sa mobile app and trading hall, you can choose, you can check yung news portion. And then there you can check our fundamental reports and technical reports. So for the entire talk, we've been talking about investing in the stock market, but I want to end this talk by citing Warren Buffett and his famous quote. So the best investment you can make is an investment in yourself, because the more you learn, the more you'll earn. So I think I hope with this quote we'll be inspired to invest in ourselves, to invest in our learnings, because in the end, mas maraming return to sa atin in the long run. So that's it for my talk. I hope you learned a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Herman. Guys, so I think by now you've appreciated the terms in short takes. This is a continuous journey for all of us. For those who actually, besides having it in the app, we also have it on our exclusive Facebook group communities, exclusive for the MyTrade clients. So we will plug for those who has not joined yet MyTrade community. Join the MyTrade community now, so you can avail of this. You can see right before the market starts. Makikita nyo na yan, na-post na yan sa aming timeline. So you can see right away para dun sa mga hindi ma-open ng email. So we understand that. For there is actually an ongoing discussions from time to time by the investors and traders, and you will see, ako personally, Herman, nakikita ko yung difference of how people in my trade community relay their information that they're getting compared dun sa mga outside Facebook community. Hindi naman ako I'm not saying that lahat ng is tama, but I see kung paano nagiging mature yung ating mga investors and traders because of probably it unti-unti natutulungan na natin sila in terms of appreciating short takes, and nakikita natin na nagiging skeptical na rin sila, nagkakaroon sila ng trust issues na tinag namin yon, yung sinabi mo na yun. na nagkakaroon na sila ng they're taking it with a grain of salt, and nakakataba ng puso. And I also want to recognize in the crowd, hi Fred, we can see you commenting on the comment section. Thank you for being there. So yeah, if you are a MyTrade community, if you are a MyTrade client, wag niyo pong aaksayahin yung panahon nyo na hindi maging member ng Mighty community, because you will really see even and ito pa isa, Herman, di pa natin na-announce, pero there will be an upcoming corner sa MyTrade community with regards to mentoring, and sobrang excited ako. I've already talked to him, and he already said yes, and magkakaroon ng special corner sa MyTrade community. Only, I think this is the first time that I see someone who will do it na in this kind of platform. So yun nga, if you have not, if nakikita namin may mga nade-decline kasi ng mga clients, it's because hindi nagsagot properly. And the reason behind that is we want to make sure that the community is in terms of authenticity and professionalism. Kasi 'di ba parang kapag nagkikita-kita lang tayo in an Outlook or forum, kita naman natin ang face ng isa't isa, we register, we verify, just like credit cards, kapag i-access yung account mo, and rest assured that this is under the privacy act. And also that we ensure you that lahat ng nag-verify niyan are employees of Abaco Securities. Ayan. So, Herman, ang daming questions, and I want to get some of them. Teka lang ha. We will, ba't ang laki ko? Ay, nawala si Herman. Ano ba to? Sorry naman na. Ayan. So, we will pick questions that we think. Ang gaganda actually ng questions na nakita ko kanina. Okay, simulan natin kay Leonor. Hello, MyTrade. Can you have a list of undervalued stocks and overvalued and growth stocks list percentage rating? Okay. Sige, actually, meron kaming upcoming post regarding our stocks that we cover. Ah, sige. Unang-una ko pang napili na kumpara pa. Anyway, mas gusto ko nga yun eh, na nakukumpara para makita nila yung difference chart. Okay. Wait. Question. Meron kanina, how do you determine, kasi napansin daw nila that the stocks na pinifeature natin are not all stocks. So, hindi lahat kinocover. Bakit daw ganun? So, I think ito masasagot mo while I'm looking for that particular question. So, bakit yung stocks na nire-report natin, mostly hindi naman lahat? Yan, can you explain it to them?
Bakit hindi lahat ng stocks nare-report?
Mm-mm.
Yun ba yung tanong?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Siguro ang una ko naisip is limited manpower, no? Kasi if you'll compare us with other brokerages have, I think, close to 10 analysts. So, and then compared to our team, which is relatively smaller. So we try to cover as much as we can, pero since we're still limited at the moment, so ayun, we try to cover as much as we can, but as our team grows in time, we'll cover more and more stocks para mas masagot namin yung mga tanong sa mga stocks na relatively lightly covered lang. So I think that's the main issue right now is the number of analysts. So kasi if you kanina yung nabanggit sa amin, yung na-compare sa amin na brokerage, I think they have nine analysts, no? Kaya mas maraming nako-cover. So ayun, so I think that's one of the one of the answers that I can think about is yung manpower.
And also, actually, I think yun yung reason why we don't report all of the stocks, because we only report those that we cover. So for those that we cover, you will see it. We don't report just because it came out from a disclosure. Well, there are some research, I think, that's being posted na taken from the disclosures lang. And for us, we don't do it like that. So what we do is we have different coverages for different industries, and kailangan may analysis doon before they publish it. All right. So this
Yeah,
is
yeah. Sorry to build lang on what China said. Yeah, that's true also na we only try to cover yung mga stocks na may magandang fundamentals, no? Kasi hindi naman lahat ng stocks maganda yung fundamentals eh. So yan. So we only try to cover yung mga stocks na pangmatagalan ba, parang ganun, na those stocks that are very promising, that have good fundamentals, have good management. So not all companies, not all listed companies are like that. So we only try to select a few, and then we try to make an in-depth analysis of those.
yan yung mga paboritong magtanong ng about dito na stock. Sige. Late issue. Okay, so the question from someone from the crowd, it can be used interchangeably about EPS to. I think forward, kanina nakita ko rin yun eh. I'm scanning the question. So, can you add more to that?
Actually, hindi to
Bakit daw
question eh. Sagot to.
forward? I mean, yeah. The question was, bakit forward EPS includes expectation?
For EPS includes plain EPS.
Ayan, ito, nakita ko na. In short take, sometimes EPS is used, but sometimes it's forward EPS. When do you use one or the other?
Okay. Actually, for our valuations, mas importante palagi yung forward EPS, no? So when we value stocks, it should be forward looking palagi. Kasi so less priority na yung mga nangyari in the past. So we should always be looking forward. Kaya forward EPS. So I think when we make use of the term EPS sa short takes namin, we're mostly pertaining to forward EPS, unless explained otherwise na ano siya, lagging EPS or last 12-month EPS. But most of the time, it should be forward EPS, which is the more important EPS.
Yes, that's right. Okay. So next is the question with regards to okay, mamaya na yung mga outlook ha. Guys, this webinar is for we want to focus more on research. I see may mga sumusundot na question about nagpapatanong, sino ba yung nagpapatanong daw? So you can directly ask that to our CS team. We will focus more on the current topic. Ayan. Ayan. Just to give you, ayan, thanks po Sir Herman. Ang kulit ng spelling niya. Daming natutunan dati, di ko talaga maintindihan ng shortex, di ba? Wait. Okay. Anong criteria ng abacus for a company to be studied? I've noticed that ito yun, yung sinasabi ko sa'yo kanina. So yun, nasagot na natin. It's, we choose those that are worth our time.
Yeah, actually,
kasi we analyze deeper.
Siguro on top of the good fundamentals, we also look at the liquidity, no? We want to study those stocks that are actively traded because siguro we don't want our investors, our clients to be stuck dun sa mga stocks na hindi actively traded. traded. Baka mahirapan kasi mag-liquidate na position. So we try to limit it to those na may magandang fundamentals and good liquidity as much as possible.
Yeah. Next is where can we find companies' core income reports?
Actually, this is not readily provided, no. You actually have to do a little more digging kasi nga ang binibigay lang talaga ng companies is yung reported net income. Siguro very few companies lang yung nagbibigay readily ng core income. So what we do is that sometimes you can learn about this when you attend briefings. So that's which is what we do. We attend analyst briefings and then we ask the management themselves. And then so that's where we try to that's how we try to estimate yung core income ng mga companies. And when we do our short takes and our action ideas, naka-focus talaga kami sa core income reports. So as much as possible, we try to eliminate yung mga non-recurring items na kasama sa net income. We only try to focus on the core income.
All right. Thank you so much, Herman. So I'll remove you first on screen. Okay, so that's not actually one of the things that I'm so proud of with our research team is that you rarely see them analyze a stock that's straight from the disclosure. That's why here I've been in the market for since 2009, and this is the first research team that I saw that hindi ko makikita na parang ni-reward lang yung disclosure. It's more of may magugulat ka na it's sabihin nila that especially that when it comes to declaration of net income, yan yung mga mapapansin mo na we don't take it at face value. They really dig into the financial reports. And that's one of the reasons why worth yung pagbasa, hindi lang ng disclosure. Okay, so hindi pa actually tayo tapos. Nagsisimula pa lang tayo. Before we move on the next part, may I ask everyone to please register StreamYard so that we can see your names whenever you post a comment. Just click the link in the caption to grant permission to see your name. Contrary to the popular belief, our renowned analysts are actually young and sociable. Ito na. So, mga introverts to, pero sociable sila on cam. I know a lot of you are waiting for this Q&A portion. So if you have, you may check your portfolios or if you have written down your questions with regards to the strategy or probably the stock that they're covering, let me call them back for the part 2 of this particular particular live stream. So let's call on them. Ayan na. For the second part, which is the Q&A with the analyst. All right. So in this part, we will choose questions from our audience. A while ago, we posted that if you share this on your wall, we will choose the most creative sharer. Make sure that it's on public so we can see you when we check the hashtag MyTradePitStop. Ayan. So we will announce it later. Okay, so while waiting for their questions, let me share with you ano na ba ang standing. Sino na ba ang nananalo sa tally natin ngayon? Would you prefer to be vaccinated or not? Maraming super yes. Okay, for 9 for some, 9 we encourage everyone continue to participate in this poll so we will know walang actually like maybe na towards leaning to no. Ayan. All right. So bullish kayo sa pag-vaccine. Okay. All right. Meron na bang questions? Ayan. Sige, while waiting, sige, sagutin na nga natin to para magkaalaman na. For you, guys, do you prefer ano ba to? Sorry na. Which do you prefer? Ano ba yung, are you leaning towards yes? Are you yes talaga? Or hindi pa sure, pero parang no? Or totally no? Sino yung sasagot muna?
Yes, of course.
Ayan, si Bess, yes.
Yes, of course.
in
Wala
no.
naman akong underlying conditions or anything that would make me worry about side effects. So hopefully more people get vaccinated so that we can get out of this dilemma faster.
Yeah. How about you, Isaiah? Maybe yes. So
Okay,
maybe yes.
nakamute si IC.
Basa muna kung mag-game part siya ng 3%, 2%. Ikaw, Araman.
Yeah, actually sumagot ako dun sa menti.com. Nag-ano ako, maybe yes. Medyo may konting hesitation lang. But leaning towards yes.
Okay, leaning towards yes. Ako actually from super low. Not because I'm kasi skeptical din ako because I know for a fact na yung vaccines takes too long para matest siya and being scared ako doon sa after effect. So that's why. Pero if like I'm thinking when I talked to this doctor that a doctor friend of mine said that pag daw kasi nagpa-vaccine, pag hindi ka nagpa-vaccine, yung strains na dadagdagan, it's because of the person na na-infect, nagkakaroon ng mutation sa sa katawan mo. And then, doon nadadagdagan yung strains. So, nung in-explain niya yun, medyo nag-lean ako towards considering it. But I'm still reading kung ano ba talaga yung brand na okay. So, in terms of things like that, so nandun ako sa maybe, pero wala pang leaning towards yes or no. So talaga, I'm considering it. Nandun ako sa from no, I'm considering it. If I won't be able to have the vaccine, my alternative is to have the anti-pneumonia vaccine. Kasi yun yung iniiwasan natin when it comes to COVID. Pero nung nagkaroon ako ng idea about the strains, being a responsible citizen na dapat contribution mo, doon ako nagkaroon ng iniisip if Winaway. Ayan, so may mga questions na tayo. Okay, so mga comments, less host, less chance of mutation. Ayan, yung sinasabi ni John. As a healthcare practitioner, I prefer to be vaccinated. Ayan, sabi ng movie. Yeah. So I natatakpan niya si Ray. I prefer to be vaccinated with COVID. Ayan. So maraming, with the poll that we have, I think marami ang nagli-lean towards, let's see kung uh, mag magko-continue, magtutuloy-tuloy yung leading ng yes. Okay. So here, okay, first question, technical analysis. Okay. Season Toski Posadas. Green is above 20 EMA. Is it okay to trade it? Is the company a good company? So, meron yung halong fundamental kasi, or yung good mo ba ay pertaining to a technically good in terms of trend? Thank you po sa sagot. So, sharing. Okay. Wait.
So we posted this screen initially sa map natin, sa map in the Facebook group we have it for clients. It initially broke out of this falling wedge, which is typically bullish. So it transitioned into this range between 355 to about 4 pesos, 410. So if you look at the MACD, you see the selling pressure is abating. So I think it was able to reclaim the 50-day MA. So I think the trend is going to continue upwards for green once it breaks out of this 410 resistance. As for the company, when it's not covered by the Abacus research team, I think you're expected to just do your own due diligence on the company. So we don't. It's not covered fundamentally. Yeah.
Is green under energy sector? Tama ba? Green energy. Herman? In terms of, meron ka bang maia-add or wala total zero? Saradar mo ba to?
Wait lang, I'm trying to remember what I last read about the company. I think what's driving the stock higher is that I think meron siyang business na makukuha kapag na-put up na yung Makati subway ni IRC. So I think that's one thing, and also meron din siyang, I can't remember exactly if it's a tie-up with another listed company.
Aba.
So basically, yeah, is it ABA, Rainier?
Yeah, it's Aba.
Okay, it's a tie-up with ABA. So basically, all of these are just plans as of the moment. We don't know if they will gain fruit as time goes by. So I think medyo speculative pa rin siya as of the moment. So be very careful pa rin in trading these stocks.
Yeah. Also to add, I think Green, the owner's quite public about it that he's trying to make Green like the holdings firm or the conglomerate of all of its company. So it's getting quite interesting, but we'll see if it comes to our radar. Then maybe we can cover it soon. But for now, yeah, still on our radar.
So at least merong konti, 'di ba? May pahapyaw na interesting. Ayan, see, I hope we answered your question. I think what I last read from it is the 900 million investment, 60% stake in Alae in Batangas. So what else? Here. Okay, so galing muna natin yung chart.
Seems like a playlist.
Is the market cycle mostly on per industries that take turns after the other? This is a good question. seems like a playlist. So who wants to answer? Bess, you want to answer?
I'm not exactly sure what you mean by seems like a playlist. But
Seems like
for the most part, the market cycle, it's all of the industries moving sort of with each other, except for maybe a few that are usually more tied to parang mas dikit siya sa economy, sa performance sa economy. For example, like energy and food, these are staples that people still need to buy, whether or not they have discretionary income or not. I'm not sure if I understood the question correctly.
ayun. So let us know if that's what you meant.
Siguro, to add on to what Bess said lang. So there are times when certain industries will do well while others won't. Let's say for example, when the economy is doing well, maraming extra na pera yung mga tao. They have money to go on hotels, on vacations, may pera sila na mag-casino. And then nakita natin yung epekto ng pandemic. So bumagsak lahat ng mga industries na to, tourism, hotels, and then yung casino, bumagsak sila lahat kasi it's during this time na nagbaliktad na yung cycle. Yung consumer staples na, like what Bess said, yung consumer staples na yung mas priority, and then nasa backseat na muna yung mga industries na pinagagastosan ng tao when they have extra money. So but that's an interesting question.
Okay. So may follow-up siya, sabi niya, if seasonal by grouping example mining or properties. Like I think nasagot naman no with regards to ano. Sabi nga nila if someone's winning, someone's losing, if yung katulad nitong pandemic when most of the restaurants closed, merong isa na tumatanggap ng mga hindi nakakapunta sa mga restaurants na to. And also, to segue that, while we're answering the questions, yung essentials natin, choose your most important essential. So, ito ba ay, naniniwala ba kayo na essential ang lugaw? Ayan. So, you can also answer and share it with on your wall. So habang nag-iintay tayo some of the questions, I don't know if something's wrong with StreamYard that I don't see all of the questions coming in. If our team can copy paste it, if hindi lumalabas yung questions here, no. But okay, so another activity. So among all of the essential listed here, ano ba yung most important na essential for you? Ayan. So, yung alcohol, bahala ka na kung anong alcohol yung gusto mo. Essential dyan. So,
Green Cross.
kung yung Green Cross o yung binabaligtad. Ayan. Alright. So, nananalo ang coffee. Ako, coffee ako. I think. Face mask. Yung mga serious na tao yan, nag-face mask yung sagot nila. Okay, so next question. Mamaya, itignan natin, balikan natin yan. Next question is, what is your take on Fest and its planned SRO with an offer price of up to 1 peso? Thank you. Covered ba natin ang Fest? Hindi no? Kala ko nag-freeze na yung screen mo. So if we cannot see if we will probably get back to you on S. How about this? FA for APL. Meron ba tayong coverage for APL? Bakit gusto niyo yung mga small caps? Yung pantetli kasi hinahanapan niyo ng FA. Ayan, sige, habang habang nag-iisip tayo kung eto, pwede ba i-incorporate sa short takes ang recommendations like strong buy, hold, sell, by scale of 1 to 10? It's actually a good suggestion. What do you think? Parang may scale. Doable ba yun?
You can interpret naman kung strong buy, hold, or sell by the upside that you can get if you compare the target price with the current price. So if medyo mataas yung tina-target namin na price for the stock, syempre mataas yung return na i-expect natin. So that could be a signal for a strong buy. So dyan din naglaro yung difference between buy, hold, sell. It depends on the upside, not just the yung transition kunyari from buy to hold. Usually it depends kapag konti na lang yung upside na titira, wala nang point na bumili ka pa ng lalakihan mo pa yung allocation mo for that kaya siya nagiging hold minsan. So that can be an indication of the scale that you want to see. Kasi mahirap din maglagay ng numerical scale. Depende kasi kung anong kind of return yung ina-expect mo. Like some people are satisfied now with like 10%. Some people want 30%. So it depends on you then.
Thanks, Bess. I think one of the questions that I want to ask is, I've noticed sometimes we use buy, sometimes we use accumulate, sometimes we use buy on dips. How can we differentiate these three things? Baka hindi lang nila na-realize that those three words were purposely there. So ano ba yung magandang difference between the three? Buy on dips, and accumulate.
For me, no, yung buy is very straightforward. Na if you have the money, get some of those stocks. If you don't have it yet in your portfolio, put them in your portfolio. Whereas if accumulate, medyo hindi naman hesitation pero mas mag-iingat ka lang, like paunti-unti yung pagbili mo. Medyo akin din siya to buy on dips. Like bibili ka lang kapag bumabaksak yung price para rin protect yung upside na gusto mong ma-attain. Ano yung isa, accumulate, buy and dips. Tatlo na yun.
Buy and dips. Ito, meron pa may pahabol si Mimi. Trading buy.
Trading buy naman is usually kasi most of our accommodations are based on fundamental analysis, but sometimes there are specific events for certain stocks or certain companies that would warrant a buy, but usually short-term lang yung effect niya sa may fundamental value ng company. For example, si PNB, it's currently on a trading buy kasi we're expecting that they will be able to unlock some of the value of its properties by selling yung almost 50 billion worth of properties nila na nakatenga lang sa asset sa balance sheet nila. So once that closes, tataas bigla yung value ni PNB, but after that, it will still have to rely on its core income na hindi naman ganun. I mean, hindi siya kasing sharp ang pagtaas ng value compared sa pag nagkabenta ka ng property. So that's the difference between trading buy and buy. Mas pag trading buy, more of mayroon kami ina-expect na short-term parang boost sa may value niya. Not necessarily part siya ng core income.
Okay.
Baka may other insights sila.
Any other insights there?
Actually, for buy on dips, the way I use it is, for example, there's a company that we like. For example, let's say Wilcon. Our price for Wilcon is 18. Pero since we write about Wilcon, tapos its stock price is already around 18 or mga 17.50, so mas maliit yung upside. So we write buy on dips to the stocks that we like. Na in case na mag-drop siya, it's some sort of a signal na we still like the stock, and we're recommending na if ever the price goes down, for example, mga 16, 15, we still believe that the 18 will hold, and then that's why we recommend buy on dips. And instead of buying, kasi since yung 17.5 to 18, very small na lang yung upside niya. That's why we don't put buy kasi yun nga, maliit na lang yung upside niya. And then for accumulate, for example, there's a stock na we like, it's fundamentally strong, pero the technicals, ang bagal niya. It doesn't move, like maybe it's trading mga daily niya, kahit malaki yung volume, it's only going up point something percent. Or technical wise, it's not on an uptrend. That's why we will put accumulate instead, na paunti-unti lang kasi if you buy parang nag all in ka, medyo matagal yan.
Yun. So, wag mag-all in. Especially at this current situation. We always be on the safe side. Sabi nga nila, better miss it out than lose money. Especially for those na hindi naman lagi nakatutok sa market. Okay, another question is, good day from Alvin. Thank you for your question. Given this pandemic situation, do you think everything is already priced in, including possible negative income, once they report or release their income of some companies? Thank you so much. Okay, if you just tune in, this is Pit Stop. This is a Q&A portion with our MyTrade analysts. If you happen to see it on newsfeed, just go ahead. You might have a question regarding the market, and you probably have an account, regardless of wherever. You feel free to ask questions with our analysts, especially on the stocks that we cover. Okay, so continue to answer the question about the pandemic situation and the price in of a possible net income. Who wants to answer?
Medyo mahirap actually to answer this question specifically kasi it's too general. Kasi there are stocks that already priced in the possible dip in income because of the extension of this pandemic for the Philippines. But there are also some stocks that we are still expecting will have downgrades in their earnings estimates in the coming quarters. So it really depends on which company or which sector. So maybe you can be more specific in your question.
And Alvin, be more specific now so we can assist
Or
you with.
you can also, if you're already a client, you can also look at, you can see in our reports which ones we think already priced in the negatives, and we expect maybe to have a better performance in the coming months, and which ones still don't. Which ones we still expect to have some downgrades?
Okay, so we're expecting some downgrades. All right, thanks, Bess, for that. For a few, okay. How about upgrades? Meron ba? Para balance it.
Yes, yung mga nakabay.
Okay.
Yeah, we've upgraded some.
Kaya mas okay sana kung mas specific. Well,
yeah, so yun. Okay, this is funny. I don't know who is it from. Saan makakabili ng polo shirt ng MyTrade? Gusto mo?
kay China.
Gusto mo ba?
Sa Shopee. Sa Shopee ni Chino.
Sabihin mo salamat, Shopee. Okay. We're thinking of actually having contests with the merchandise of MyTrade. Other than the shirt that you see on screen, meron din kami a bullish shirt, which is really good. That one is I really like that one. We will showcase that siguro one of these days. Yeah, that's a funny comment. Okay, what PSE stocks are most exposed, positive and negative, to mega trends like renewable energy? Yeah, good question from Ron Vergara.
Okay. Sige, ako na dito since covered ko yung energy sector. So, yung mga positives muna siguro. Well, siguro very obvious si ASEN, kaya siya umaakyat for the past few months since ang focus niya talaga is solar, and if you listen dun sa CEO nila, no, so paulit-ulit yung plans nila to reach around 5,000 megawatts of renewable energy by 2025, and it seems they're they're on track to meet that target. And then what we also like is also FGen because of its subsidiary EDC. EDC is mostly on geothermal, which is also renewable, and a bit of wind and solar. And then if we notice, it's been in the news that we're shifting from coal towards cleaner source of energy. So an obvious loser here is Semerara, and in extension, DMC also, because Semerara contributes more than half of DMC's earnings. And then ASEN also in one of their briefings said that since we're shifting away from coal, we must look at cleaner alternatives for baseload energy. And one candidate for that is natural gas, which is also the main business of FGen. That's why we also like FGen in the long run because it's cheap, and also we expect it to benefit from the mega trend of shifting towards renewable energy. So FGen and ASEN should be winners, while Semerara should be on the losing side. While AP is also they're planning to expand their renewables. Also, they want to have a 50-50 coal and 50% coal and 50% renewables. So we're mostly neutral on AP. What we're really concerned about AP is that they're hampered on consistently by their unplanned shutdowns of their plants. So laging nilang nami-miss yung market consensus estimates for earnings because of unforeseen events like those. And it's been consistent. It has been going on for quite some time. That's why that's one of the reasons why we are hesitating to put a buy on the stock. So yeah, so I think those are the top of mind answers for your question.
Napansin niyo ba wala siyang notes? Memorize niya yun lahat. Sana all. Okay. Next is, all right. So I'm sorry for our MyTrade e-learning hub channel. I thought we were live. We got in now, so we're live on eHub now. I'm really sorry for that. Didn't see, but if you can repost the question. Okay. Next is who? Okay. What do you use in calculating TP? When do you use DCF? Hmm. SOTP, etc. in estimating fair value? Okay. Labanan na ng brain cells to.
Ang ganda
Okay.
naman ng tanong.
Yan. Yung mga gusto nilang question, yung mga hindi ko maintindihan. Okay, go.
Okay, sige, ako na lang muna. Ang ganda ng tanong na to, no? So actually there's no one answer na isang valuation method cannot fit all companies. So depende sa company yung valuation method na ginagamit namin. So just to give you an idea, kapag yung company is more on cash flow, and whether or not hindi siya nagbibigay ng cash divs but malakas yung operating cash flow niya, DCF is a good candidate for that. Pero ang mahirap lang sa DCF is that there are many moving parts and you're forecasting 10 years into the future, so medyo malaki yung margin of error. And then for some of the parts naman, we usually use this for mga conglomerates, no? So we try to value each of the subsidiaries on their own, and then we try to put them as a whole. And then we just apply a small discount for conglomerates. This is to account for the illiquidity of the subsidiaries, kasi minsan ang subsidiaries nila is not listed. So kapag hindi listed ang isang company, medyo mahirap siyang ibenta. Medyo mahirap siyang i-liquidate. Kaya naglalagay tayo ng discount when we try to compute yung target prices for conglomerates. And then also, siguro very common na ginagamit namin is mga multiples, mga price multiples, or what we call yung mga relative multiples. Ito yung mga PE, PE ratios. And then kapag negative naman yung earnings ng company, we also try to use yung EV/EBITDA. So that's enterprise value over EBITDA, because most of the time positive yung EBITDA. So there. So I think those, at least in my case, ayun yung mga ginagamit ko. And also, meron ding besides relative valuation, meron din tinatawag na absolute valuation. This is when we try to compare yung stock dun sa historical valuations niya. For example, a stock has been trading at 10 times for the past 10 years on average. And now, it's just trading at 8 times. So that's when we can say na it's relatively undervalued compared to its historical valuations. So if we want to try to compete for the TP, we can use the historical target price. So ayun, so ang bottom line siguro iba-iba talaga no, case to case basis siya. So it depends on the characteristics of the company kung anong valuation method yung pinakabagay na gamitin.
Yan. Okay ka na ba, Herman? Kasi wala na akong dugo. Next. How about the others? Can you share? Can you share your thoughts? Okay, for those who are not familiar with what they're talking about, this is about computing yung value ng isang company. How do an analyst identify that this particular stock is priced at 1 peso or 10 pesos? What are the models or sinasabi nating methods nila? Long method, short method, yun lang alam ko eh. Pero these are the methods that they use in order for them to see the real value of the company so we can identify the target price. Tayo, taga-abang lang tayo kung malapit na ba yung target price or hindi pa. So, others, can you share your thoughts in terms of valuation, computation?
I think Herman covered
covered it.
Everything.
Covered
Okay.
it well.
Actually, just to add,
may nakalimutan pa siya.
just to add on that, actually, mas maganda kung hindi lang isang valuation method yung gamitin sa isang
Yeah.
company. You can actually use several valuation methods to compare yung accuracy na nakuha mo sa isang valuation method. So you can actually verify that by using other valuation methods. And then you can also apply averaging. So let's say 10 pesos yung nakuha mo na TP using this methodology, and then 12 pesos naman sa isa. So you can get the average para ma-balance out yung risks ng each methodology. So there. Thank you sa tanong. Nag-enjoy ako sagutin yung tanong mo.
One thing also pala,
Go ahead,
you want to look at, something you want to look at kasi all these different valuation methods have their own assumptions, and syempre yung assumptions ng isang analyst may be different from the assumptions of another analyst. So usually that's mentioned naman in the report when we write about that, kung ano yung naging assumptions that we put into these models. So if you agree with that, if you agree what we assume, or baka you don't agree, that's also part of whether you will agree, you will take our word for it that this should be the value of a specific stock, or evaluate na rin kung same ba yung point of view namin with your point of view for that specific company. You can see that in the assumptions that we make. Specific stock or
Thank you, Bess. How about any addition to that, Rainier?
They covered most of it already.
Okay. All right. So if you just tune in with us, this is MyTrade PH. We're talking about the things that you probably need in order to push through with your investments, especially at this time of pandemic. And if you're new with MyTrade, go ahead and check our page, MyTrade PH. And also, if you're tuning in on the YouTube channel, if you want more of this, you can click subscribe and click the notification bell, so you'll be up to date with all of the latest videos and live streams that we have. Okay. So next is, and bakit nga ba natin kailangan pakinggan ng mga to? It's just because gusto ko lang proud to say that Abacus Securities from 2002 to 2019 has a compounding annual growth rate of 20.9% versus the PSEI of around 11%. And that's a big gap. It means that it's the credibility for over the years, hindi lang po yan hit and miss. So if you happen to pass by this news on the news feed, meron kang stocks, meron kang mutual fund, and if you are curious of what's happening in the market, especially with what you're holding right now as an asset or as an investment, go ahead and pose a question with us right now. Okay? So Joel Mar. Huwag na lang yun. Sorry, Jo. PM mo sa amin. Sagutin ka ta dyan. Alright. What are stocks exposed to EV megatrends? Ito ba yun? Kanina? What's EV?
Is
Similar
that
lang,
electronic
electronic
vehicles?
vehicles, yeah.
Electric
Top of
vehicles.
mind would be, yeah, electric vehicles. Top of mind would be IMI, also one of our topics. Kasi they are in the business of manufacturing. Medyo andun sila sa may, supply sila sa may naggawa ng mga electronic vehicles. So as more people adopt EV, especially in Europe, we see more deals for IMI, more income in the long run. Maybe
Electronic vehicles. Para lang dun sa mga EV.
Siguro
Okay, so
another beneficiary for EV is nickel. So you
Mhm.
have Nickel Asia and FNI. Kaso the only problem that's facing nickel producers is that they're actually expecting a correction in nickel prices because they said that the price surge in nickel last year was not expected at all. So for this year, they expect a 15 to 20% correction because there are some factories that or steel mills that closed shop in China because of the pandemic. So that means hihina yung demand for these nickel producers. So they're expecting 15 to 20% correction in nickel prices this year. So we may expect some headwinds for these nickel stocks.
And we also just have to be a little wary on nickel and FNI. I think we also wrote about this before. When it comes to EVs, or when it comes to nickel and nickel Asia and FNI, the types of nickel that they're producing are skewed towards the lower quality. So we're not totally sure or certain if those will be used for the EV trend moving forward. So not much visibility for now. Maybe we'll know soon.
All right. Thank you so much. For those, someone are asking what brokerage is this? This is MyTrade PH by Abacus Securities. So if you are curious of how to subscribe, you can check our comment section below. We will pin the link of how to subscribe or open an account with us. If you're worried that your stocks are low, we actually have a promo. If you have stocks from your current broker, you can transfer it for free to us at the first batch. So hindi nyo na kailangan mag-put ng initial investment if it's equivalent to the account opening value that we have or more than. All right. So another question for technicals. Isaiah, can you comment on AGI or is it higher top 100?
Sir Lawrence yata yun eh.
Okay, so in terms of what he's just asking if it's make technical input on if it's having a new 52-week high. Pwede bang ano lang?
Yeah, so for the technical trader, if you took this trade, most likely you took this trade about it's like an ascending triangle, continuation variety. So if you took this trade, your upside is about 20% from the area pattern of the triangle. Your stop loss is about 7% if it breaks back below the 20-day. So that's basically the classical charting on Alliance Global. So the volume's okay, but if it falls back inside, then you'll be stopped out. So
All right, thank you. most of these stocks are actually being covered by our other TMT technician, which is Sir Lawrence, which is for that reason, medyo generic lang yung ibibigay na overview ni Isaiah. Okay. Next, probably last three questions. Last, for those who are still curious, nahihiya kayo because you don't have an account with us, don't worry, we will accept the questions that you guys have. Kung itetest niyo yung waters of what you will have at the end of the day, what you want to have is to earn. That's why you're investing. So, what is your take about ASIN po right now? If the right now it has market cap of 150 billion, bakit wala pa rin siyang index sa index stocks? It has bigger market cap than Bloom and AGI. Okay, good question. Can you comment on that? Kasi I know for a fact
Actually, we
PSBI is great.
you know for a
Wait.
fact that yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Yung membership kasi sa index has certain criteria. Yung next na recomposition is sa August pa. And actually we wrote about this this week or last week, but fairly recently. There is a possibility, but we have to wait until yung review period will end. Which the market cap that is actually going to be used for the August recomposition will run until end of June. So we don't know yet ano pa yung magiging standing ni ASIN and no other stocks that are around its ranking. That will ultimately determine if it will be part of the index or not. But if you are a client of Abacus, you can see more detail in the short takes that we wrote about it. This week ba or last week?
Thanks, Bess. Well, we just want to
there's
show
a possibility, but
value. Diba? Mag-input value on. Hindi lahat na kwento. If you don't know what is that about, okay, si PSEI po or yung index are the top 30 stocks na ini-include to know whether the market as a whole, yan yung dyan natin binibase ang benchmark. And yan din ang binibit ng mga fund managers in terms of performance. Now, sometimes at 30 stocks, hindi naman sila nagsistay forever. Walang forever din sa kanila because sometimes they are taken out if hindi na sa criteria and napapalitan. So that's what the question of Francis was about. Practically, just based it from the number of the market cap, which is PSEI has other criteria na meron. And maganda yan that it's one of the strengths of Abacus Securities na sinasabihan namin most likely kung ano yung madadagdag or mapapalitan. Yan. Paano ba ito nako-contribute doon sa, like, if you happen to recommend or say na this particular stock will probably replace this particular stocks na nasa PSEI, paano ba nagbe-benefit ang investors dito? Can you tell them the advantage of knowing ahead or assessing ahead yung dadagdag na stock doon sa PSEI? Kasi kung madagdag, ano ngayon? Parang, I think that's the thing that we wanna know. What's the effect?
Well, basically kasi there are a lot of mutual funds that follow or try to benchmark itself sa performance ng index. So those funds usually try to have the same stocks in their funds as the stocks na members ng index. So if one stock is removed from the index, syempre bebenta din ng mga funds yung stock na yun. So that's why usually if they're removed from the PSEI, the stock price goes down kasi everyone's selling. And likewise, if a stock is added to the index, these funds that follow or track the index will be buying that stock para sa ilagay sa funds nila. Kasi they also have to, parang meron silang tinatawag na parang tracking error that they have to abide by na kailangan dito lang yung difference ng performance ng fund nila sa may index. So, if you know ahead of time, which kung ano yung magiging movement, you can actually parang mauunahan mo sila. So, by the time that the funds are buying to put that stock in the index, in their funds, kasi mga at the index, you can sell to them na. So, that's basically the idea. Kaya, yun, it's an advantage to know ahead of time before the PSE officially makes the announcement. But, although our track record for this has been good in the past 2 years, sometimes kasi syempre si PSE has criteria that they do not share sometimes. So, hindi natin alam kung ano mangyayari in the future. Yan.
Yan. Ayaw lang
Although we
yung,
do our
hindi ko cross fingers lang si Liz, pero she's one of the analysts behind that particular list. Okay, so and I don't know if na cover na natin to. How about pure gold? Do you still see 30% upside for it, lalo na pag gumanda na yung economy ulit? Based on the charts, where quarantine is lifted, laging bumababa ng malaki. But if ECQ lang siya, tumataas. If market recovers, will it also have a bullish mark?
We still like pure gold. Well, I think ano siya, yung quarantine and lifting of quarantine, it's purely on maybe psychological siya per se. Pero in terms of valuations, no, we like pure gold. In 2020, it posted good earnings, very strong. Even if foot traffic was down, especially for pure gold, it didn't go down as much compared to 2019, particularly. But I think moving forward, especially for 2021, if the market recovers, will it also have the bullish mark? I say definitely yes. Since we're seeing the trend now, na people are staying home, or even after but the pandemic, people will most likely cook at home. Since people a lot learned how to cook this pandemic, they're most likely to to buy those consumer staples, and this will all be found in the groceries. So Pure Gold is a pure supermarket play of Pure Gold and SNR. We're seeing the burst of SNR in 2020 and most likely in 2021 as well. And they're expanding, moving outside of Metro Manila, so penetrating the other markets as well. So do we see the 30% upside for it? Yes. It might even have, we might even have to upgrade it soon kasi maganda nga yung earnings niya. But since I think in the past days we've seen it going down a bit, maybe it's more on the sentiment, market sentiment. Pero we see value in it.
On us, on a different point of view naman, Big Gold also benefits from one of the mega trends, which is yung demographic dividend ng Philippines, where there are more households being created because more people are well, even pre-pandemic, there are more families being created, more people that are setting up their own households apart from their extended families, and so they would they would have separate trips to the supermarket, more trips for their own household needs, and even after this pandemic, we will anticipate, because of the change in the demographics ng population natin, we anticipate more people will be joining the labor force over the long term. Maybe not in the medium term, but like after we emerge from this pandemic, there would be more people that are in the working age, and they will have more discretionary income, and this would translate into more earnings for consumer staples. We have Pico. That's one of our topics that will benefit from this mega trend, because it's trading at a very low forward PE compared to its historical 10-year mean. So it's parang ito yung malaki yung upside compared to other supermarkets.
Yeah. So Natuto ba kayong magluto nung pandemic? Nagkaroon ba kayo ng chance na magluto during pandemic nung sarado yung restaurant especially? Or hindi
Natuto
pa din?
kumain lalo.
Ng century tuna. Kaya tumaas din yung century tuna eh. Thank you so much, guys.
Yes.
So again, if you just tuned in, you can have a replay on this. This is a Q&A with an analyst of Abaco Securities. This is in preparation, pit stop in preparation for the next market update of our very own head of research, Nikki Franco. If you don't know about Nikki Franco, he's ano lang naman siya, best stock picker in Asia. He's top 5 in 2006. He is a CPA and a CFA. He's the one heading our research. Siya ang aming Father Abraham's research department. And he is, if you want to follow him on Twitter, he's HOR_102. Meron akong, meron akong incentive pag naka plus 1,000 ako sa followers nito. Baka sa kanila ni Sir Nicky. But given that, I think si Sir Nicky also is a top board passer. So, yan lang naman yung mga credentials ni Sir Nicky. And even our people from the industry really knows him. We're not saying we're right all the time. Sinasabi niya yun. He's really grounded at lagi na yung sinasabi yun sa amin. But we've seen the track record and it's really amazing. It's mind-blowing. Okay, so next is yung last question, sige, for everyone na kukunan namin sa crowd. Again, don't hesitate to ask, even if you don't have an account yet. We value na bigay namin yung tamang learning and tamang analysis. Okay, so sabi ni Mon Rodillas, thank you. I'm taking advantage of that article na madagdag yung stock na yon sa PSEI. Okay. Oh, thank you, Armored Trader. MyTrade has the best funda insights in town. What sector do you think will rally first during recovery? Yung yung magra-rally na siguro yung meron talagang sudden rally right after na mag-take place na tong immunity herd na inaantay natin. Thank you, Armored, for your kind words. Di po sila nagdadasal, nag-isip po sila. Ayan, so,
Okay.
what do you
Siguro.
Sige, fundamentally, and then I'll ask Isaiah kung ano naman ng tingin niya na alam mo yun, nandun na sa thin line of anyway, sige, go ahead, Herman.
Siguro sa akin, airlines.
Okay.
Kasi sobrang, I think ang dami nang nangangate na mag-abroad or kahit domestic flights lang na hindi nila magawa kasi nga ang daming protocols and nakakatakot. So I think I think pent up na yung savings ng mga tao na hindi nila nagagastos pang bakasyon, and I think they will take advantage of that once the situation stabilizes. So I think it's the airlines, and also if we look at the stock prices, ang laki din binagsak nung mga airline stock. So I think it is one of the sectors, if not the most, that will rally first during recovery.
Meron kayong ibang input?
I think possible. Well, for me.
Yeah.
Siguro malls, tapos restaurants na rin. I think malls partly because people. I think in the future, since we live in a tropical country, people will still go to the malls kahit ano mangyari. Ang init eh. So yeah, exactly. So people will still go to the malls. Tapos ayun, well, since they go to the malls, they will eat out, buy mga retail stuff. So especially during this pandemic, everyone's just stuck at home, takot lumabas. Pero moving forward, most likely, they're the ones na siguro weekly babalik or even some daily babalik ng malls because well we miss it. We miss going back to the malls safely.
Parang na-miss mo nga really.
Yeah.
Parang sentiment mo. Ikaw yun eh. Ginamit mo pa sila. Ako nami-miss ko na manood sa widescreen. Yan, for sure. How about Bess? Any addition? Natingin mo na another industry that will probably have good rally once this is done.
Yeah, I agree. Airlines, kasi yun nga, they've been hit the deepest. So during this pandemic, so medyo mataas yun, may expect natin na pag angat niya once everyone can travel freely like before. I think baka magkaroon din ng rally on properties kasi once construction activities are mas fully operational na sila, they can start recognizing the revenues that are based on percentage of completion and yung turnovers that are na medyo nahihirapan sila to turn over yung completed projects because of quarantine restrictions. So that might experience rally once we emerge from this pandemic. But there are also some other issues that are hounding that sector. So maybe it might be short-lived.
Okay, that's interesting. How about in the technical sense? Like, ano yung nasusuppress na price that you think that will, soon catch up once this is pandemic is over?
There's a short text
Wait.
for the research team, which is Conceptual and Industrial Corporation.
Nakamute ata si IC.
You unmute yourself.
There's this stock Conceptual Industrial Corporation, which is covered by the research team. It started showing volume spikes here over the past 1 year, and its MACD is starting to cross the zero line. So the question was which one would rally first, and this one is starting to show signs of starting to really get going. Only question is if you can just have the follow through. So I think this is top can get going. CIC Conception. Pretty liquid nga lang. So you see the MACD. It could get interesting.
So those are the things you probably want to watch out for.
So
CIC Conception.
Industrial Corporation.
Okay. All right. So, okay, to close this, thank you so much for the time. I know we extended because we want to help as much questions that you have. For those who liked what they saw, or probably may nakita ako na they just got here, you can actually replay this, whichever channel you are in. You can just drag the red point balik, so you can start with the very beginning. The first part of this is understanding the abacus security reports, and then the second part is the Q&A with regards to stocks and portfolio management that they have in their respective accounts. Okay, for last questions for you, pero bago ang lahat, did we get people na nag-share nito sa wall nila? And if we have that, we will post it later dun sa mga naging creative enough to share this with the hashtag PITSTOP MyTrade. This is for us to be able to see. Just make sure that it's posted as public post para makita namin, because if restricted, di namin yan makikita, and mention our page if possible. So we can choose for the merchandise. We will give out the merchandise for those who are gonna be picked as the most creative one. All right. For those who are curious and wants to thinking about opening an account with us to enjoy this particular perks that we have, you can follow us on Facebook and subscribe on Twitter, on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. For the last question, probably, is ito yung gusto kong itanong sa mga analysts. Yung common mistake or probably what is the thing that most likely investors might fall into na sana hindi na nila maranasan, and you wanna warn them that in these times, mas prone ka sa ganitong way of investing or buying, ano yung factor that you want to make sure na they will take note of or they will cover. Yan. Siguro in terms of behavior in buying, in terms of choosing stocks that they're gonna buy, especially at this time.
Sige, I'll go first. Siguro that the thing that comes in mind, especially these times, it's quite volatile. So sometimes you tend to buy, tapos bigla na lang, it's gonna be like a 5% drop of everything. So yung ganong types of movements, nakaka-dismaya or nakaka-discourage siya na ayoko na tignan yung stocks ko kasi puro bagsak naman. I don't want to look at the market. Tingin na lang ako, siguro tulog na lang mga 1 month, tsaka ako na lang tignan. Pero I think that's the wrong way of seeing it, especially for these drops. I think what I've learned as well in those times or in these times is to continue on learning. Maybe we can use this time to learn yung mga different valuations or continue monitoring or how these stocks move, especially during mga bearish scenarios, or what are the reversals, or maybe just reading up on the disclosures, reading up on different materials. It's like what Herman said earlier. You continue to learn for you to earn.
Ulitin mo nga yun. You continue to learn for you to... Ulitin mo.
Earn. Di naman na bahala.
Maganda yun eh. Highlight natin. Continue to learn for you to earn. Ayan, Martin. Alright, so next.
I think isa din sa mga dapat ingatan is if you decided at first na long-term investment ang reason mo for getting into a stock, tapos bigla ka mag-shift into short-term trader mindset, parang that could lead you to incurring lots of losses kasi nakalimutan mo yung original na purpose mo for getting into certain stock. So if sa simula pa lang pinili mo tong stock na to for a short-term trade or pinili mo tong stock na to for a long-term investment horizon, stick to that. Huwag kang bigla mag-switch sides because that's doon ka magkakaroon ng mistakes and parang mawawala ka sa direction or sa goal ng portfolio mo. That's why then we also advise clients to have maybe two separate portfolios, one for trading, one for long-term investments, if kaya naman ang buying power mo. So yeah, that's one of the things that ingatan natin, especially during these volatile seasons.
That's right. Ayan. Kaya we also have in MyTrade what we call the Marge accounts, wherein you can separate this kind of strategy in buying stocks in a long-term strategy, and it's as easy as receiving the playlist on a monthly basis and also following the recommendation that is on the playlist for that month. And we highly encourage to separate that account versus dun sa ating short-term tradings or short-term wins. Yan. And sinong next? Ikaw na ba, Isaiah, or Herman? Bato.
Ah, meron ka na ba, IC?
Pero na, sige ikaw muna.
Ah, Ako na
On
muna.
live.
Okay. Okay, just to clarify lang muna yung the more you learn, the more you earn. Kay Warren Buffett po yun galing. Sinite ko lang po. Hindi po yun sa akin galing. So, that's
At
the
least honest
importance
siya,
of...
sinasabi niya yung
Opo,
citation.
opo. May
Ayun.
importante po yung nagsasite talaga. Okay. Anyway, so ang siguro yung tanong ni China, the mistakes na hindi dapat natin maulit, I think for me is impulse buying or impulse selling. Basically, deciding on impulse. I think hindi lang sa stock market siya applicable, kahit in life. So minsan may urge tayo na bumili ng stock just because it's going up without even finding out the reason behind the surge. And we're just going with the flow. Ayun yung madalas na ayun yung madalas na yung nawiwipso. Yung akit yung stock, sasakay tayo and then bigla siyang babagsak. So I think um, as we go along with our investment journey, we'll learn na very how do I say this? Sobrang minsan lang na mag-pay off yung ganong decision, but more often than not, mas matatalo tayo when we decide on impulse. So yes, you stick to, as Bess said earlier, you stick to your strategies, and then be rational. Be always rational. You always should have a reason for buying or selling a stock, and then we should always stick to our strategy to avoid deciding on impulse.
Oh, ayan ha. Pwede na.
Ayun.
By the way, on our left ba to or right, is our website. So if you are interested, you can check our ads there, our performance from the past 18 years, the promo of stock transfer, and the like. If you want to start with us, you can also check our page so you can see our link in terms of registration. You can see also the different Facebook groups that we have officially. If it's not with in the website, it's not official from MyTrade Pit Crew. All right. So, okay, ayan na ha. Binigyan ko pa ng hinahaba ko pa.
So basically, you just have to stick to your discipline. So for traders, syempre, cut your losses quickly, especially now that the general market, the index is down, low longer term. Is it the longer term? The longer term, a bit longer term trends. Um, if you're an investor, just stick to being an investor, buying good companies, etc. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. So, out of curious ba kayong malaman kung sino ang nanalo sa voting when it comes to vaccination? By the way, this poll is not yet done. We will continue to ask this poll. Uh, Here, so let's just make it load and then I'll share it. Ay, nawala. Ayun, okay. So, right now, the one winning is a yes. So, maraming eager to get vaccinated. Especially, they know na ito yung magkakaroon ng opening or revival sa ating economy, I think. Is one of the reasons I think the crowd that we have is kind of well versed and probably reading stuff about how will it help, yeah, which is really good. Okay, thank you so much. And I hope that this is not the last time. If you want what you saw today, please share this with your friends and family members. We want you to have a good coverage on April 23. After the pit stop, before the pit stop ends, you have to gas up. So please make sure that you will be available on April 23. with our very own head of research, Nikki Franco, to have a market update based from the February outlook that we had, the long road back. With that, thank you so much, and I hope you had a great time. And please continue to stay home and stay safe, and konting tiis pa, and with all the discipline that we should be having, maganda yung madudulot nito in the long run, mabababa na natin yung curve. Alright? So, with that, thank you so much and happy araw ng kagitingan tomorrow. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.